guys, welcome back to another Art Savvy video. In this one we're gonna hop into a logo design session for Plant and Soul. They do spiritual gatherings here in Miami, Florida. So they do cooking classes, they offer cooking classes, and they're also planning on doing yoga events in the future. And they're just all about setting up a nice calming vibe and creating like a family oriented kind of space for people. So we're starting off the logo design session with, as you can see, I have my reference photos off to the right side, and we're trying out making a little icon out of one of the yoga poses. So I'm working with this one, trying to see how this icon works. Right now we're looking for some typography that I feel is fitting to the platform that they're trying to represent, I guess. So here I'm just going through, picking out a couple. I end up going with this second one. I really like the ampersand in this one. That was the selling point for me. And just the overall rounded edges give it a more calming and less hardcore sharp feeling. So I felt like it was only fitting to have Plant and Soul in a more soft typeface. So we went with Aesthet Nova. Here I'm trying out a different icon here. This first part I'm just sketching things out, not worried about if things are actually balanced at this point. It's just trying to get ideas down. So this is pretty much just me sketching out my little icon. So this is the tree pose. I thought that would be clever to have a person in tree pose, since the name of the place is Plant and Soul. I thought it would be cool to have a yoga pose that is named after a plant, a tree. Then I also wanted to include, off to the right you could see I have my references. I have the 7 chakras, and at these events when they're offering people food, a lot of the time people are eating for their chakras, for their 7 chakras. So I figured that would be a nice little thing to include. So at first I tried having the person holding the orbs, so having like the circle of the different chakras there, but I didn't really like the crossover. It started looking like a tennis ball too much to me there in the middle with the person holding it up top. I tried messing with scale a little bit. I really liked the increase and decrease in scale as it gets up to the arch. Here I realized I could just use the head for the center chakra in the middle. So that's what I did. Here I'm trying to find a good angle for these. And then I'm bringing them down mathematically. So the center, to make them look balanced and referenced to each other in a certain way, and so that way they get decreasingly small at a certain rate. I use the actual transform scale option, and I scale the whole thing down by percentages. So the center dot where the yoga person is at 100%, and then as it gets further away from that center dot, they're decreasing by 20%. So I went 80, 60, 40 on those other ones. Then here I'm trying out a completely different concept, a more typographic approach to the Plant and Soul logo. So I tried working with that little like vine wrapping around the E, kind of wrapping around the ampersand, excuse me. That wasn't really, I wasn't really feeling that too much. Here I try adding the little leaf to it. I don't know why this leaf was giving me so much trouble to make it look right, but I thought that looked a little weird. I tried moving the shadow over to the other side, flipping the stem on it. I eventually get it to where I like it. I actually didn't think that last one was too bad. Yeah, I think it needs to go on the top side. I think I finish up by putting it on the top side. So I try here. My whole idea was try and get a little plant in the word plant and give a little spiritual vibe to the word soul on the other side. So I figured I'd go with the moon, since they would also have events, certain events based off of, like, if there's a new moon ceremony or something like that. I think they're also planning on doing events like that. So I thought it would be cool to incorporate the moon and some stars. So here I'm just building that out. I try and go with the cliche moon and inside the sun idea, but it didn't really quite work out, so I end up just going with some stars. Didn't really like the look of that one. And then on this second option, since it's our more typographic approach, I thought it would only be fitting to add the tagline too. And then here I'm just trying to customize, but before we get to the tagline, I guess I did this too. We customized a little bit of the text by having that ampersand overlap the S and bringing in the tracking a little bit on all the letters to just make it look like all one complete thing. Here I try and go with that. I try that vine, and I try to incorporate the T a little bit there. Didn't like it, so I ultimately end up scrapping that idea. But I try and do that. I keep trying to go back to this little like vine wraparound. Thought it would be a little too much though. I didn't think that was working, so I decided not to go with it. Here I try and find a lighter text for the tagline, a lighter typeface, excuse me, for the tagline, just to get a little bit of contrast between that and the actual logo part of it. All right, so here at this point, I had sent it to the client, and they had chose to go with the icon, and they just wanted to add the tagline to the version that had the icon as well. So here I'm just building out the icon more mathematically and geometrically sound. So I'm actually building it out with circles here. And again, there you'll see the scale option. I'm scaling everything respectively by certain percentages to make sure everything's balanced. And I use the big circle, and then all the smaller circles that I'm using are based off of the head of the yoga, of the person doing the yoga pose. So all the angles and curves are gonna be in relation to each other. So it should end up being balanced in theory, which I think I did a pretty good job of balancing it out. So here we're just using our shape builder tool and I think direct selection tool I used also to just delete some of the anchor points, but you can also just completely do this in shape builder. So we're just deleting the parts we don't need from our circles, from what we just built out, and leaving the sections that we do need to make our final icon. And this is making all the curves beautifully smooth like butter. Now here we're playing with some stroke weights. There was a little problem there with a couple anchor points stacking on each other. I figured it out after a little while. Now here I start liking how balanced the icon is and how the curves are, and each side at the top of the arms of the yoga person are more balanced than in the original one, since I just kind of freehanded the original one. But it still felt a little bit like coming to the points at the hands and at the edge, at the tip of the feet, didn't really correlate with the typeface I had chosen, with the rounded edges of the typeface. So I decide ultimately to go and change the stroke from this one that ends in a point to a more rounded approach. But before we do that, I think I go in and I figure out spacing. So I'm going in, and with the X height of my tagline typeface, I'm using that as a spacer. So that way everything is evenly spaced out with respect to itself. Now, for icons, I tend to like giving them a little more breathing room from the typography in the logo. I feel like it just lets the icon really shine on its own while still letting the typography speak for itself. So I give it a little bit more breathing room by giving it an X and a half spacing between the typography, the top of the ampersand, and the base of the icon. I think here's when I change over to the rounded edges on the icon to match so it fits in a little bit better with the, here you see it, the difference, and it fits in a little bit better with the plant and soul typography. And here I'm just making sure everything's lining up. Again, in the original sketch that I did go a little bit into like geometry and getting things laid out properly, but it didn't do it perfectly. So here I'm just redoing things, and I like to work with that obnoxious pink as my spacers, so that way I can see everything, and then the black still stands out enough on its own for me to like use it as like a little sketching background. So yeah, that's what we're going with. Now we're gonna pick out some colors. They really were into this this deep blue, and what goes good with the deep blue, they chose like a nice bright gold as well. So I decided to stick with that, what they gave me, and we're moving the chakras around based off. Just to make the layout of the logo a little more balanced, I wanted the yellow dot to be in the center, so that way it balances out with the spiritual gatherings on the bottom that's also in the gold. Yeah, that was our final logo, so we're just going in, and now we're just getting all our color codes done. And for the clients, I usually, when I'm giving them color codes, I try doing it in like a unique way. So there you saw me grabbing all of the different bubbles. So I'm giving them their two main colors. So here I'm giving them, these are the hexadecimal codes, I give hexadecimal, RGB, CMYK, and then I find an equivalent Pantone on a converter online. And I try and do it in a unique way to pertain to the logo, so that way it looks like it fits in and it's not just me throwing in color codes on the brand PDF for no reason. So yeah, that was it. That's our final logo. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. There I'm playing around with possibly in the future they can animate the yoga person bouncing up and down. But yeah, that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.